All right. Mr. Medlin, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, my name is Justin Medlin, DOC number 775045.
Yep, 775045. Let me get back on the right page. All right, Mr. Medlin, let's see. You're classified as a first felony offender, currently serving a 5-year sentence for a conviction in Caddo Parish of decent behavior with a juvenile.
Yes, ma'am.
Parole eligibility date was June 11th, 2023. You're not eligible for good time, so your full term date is June 10th, 2026. Does all that sound correct?
Yes, ma'am, it does.
Your your case is assigned to me, so I'm gonna take the lead on the interview.
Yes, ma'am.
How old are you, sir?
31, ma'am.
How long have you been in jail?
2 years.
2 years. 2 of a 5-year sentence. And so that would put you around 29 at the time of this offense.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, and your relationship to the victim in this case was what?
My stepsister.
She was your stepsister.
Yes, ma'am.
And she was, how old was she?
13.
And so I'm a little confused because in your application, in my packet, I see where you claim you're innocent.
Yes, ma'am.
Crime. You pled guilty in court
Yes, ma'am.
to a lesser charge. I think your aunt wrote a letter explaining the plea.
Yes, ma'am.
You were facing a longer sentence. But then in your letter, you also tell us, I know I've done wrong and made mistakes. That's what landed me in jail. I've learned from my mistakes. So would you tell us what did you do? Tell us about the lesson. What have you done wrong?
Well, first off, I shouldn't have gotten as close emotionally and psychologically as I did with the victim. Like I said, it's my dad's girlfriend's daughter. She's troubled. She was a very troubled teen. I went through a lot of that stuff myself as a teenager and growing up. And I took what my dad and her mom wanted me to do and get close to her and talk to her, because they both tried to talk to her and get her to open up, but she wouldn't open up to them. So they came to me since I was younger and to talk to her. Well, I started talking to her and she started opening up to me, but then she started coming at me in more ways than a brother, more like she was attracted to me. And there was multiple times that I told her that don't see her that way. I don't look at people that way at that age. But I could have just put a stop to it then. But I didn't, because I tried to handle it on my own, but apparently it didn't work. And by so doing, I put myself in a predicament to where, I made mistakes. I got close. I made comments I shouldn't have made, and that was on my own volition. That was my own stupidity that got me in the predicament that I arrived in. So, as I said, you
have written a letter to be placed in sex offender treatment.
Yes, ma'am. Because when I got registered, when I had to take my time, I saw when I did all my research on probation and parole, y'all look for good time classes and stuff like that. Well, I didn't want to squander my chance, and I didn't want y'all to look at it and be like, all right, Mr. Medlin didn't take any classes. Well, I'm here in Richland Parish, and sadly, they don't offer any classes for me to take. So the only option I could do was write Wade or Hunts, the places that I was told that offer those programs, so I could take it, so I could show y'all that I'm not just sitting here in jail idle, just twiddling my thumbs, not trying to better myself. I understand I made a mistake, but I wanted to better myself because, talk is cheap. I was taught that from a young age, and I wanted to actually show, y'all as the board, my family and myself, that I can do whatever needs to be done to prove that, hey, if y'all want me to do this, then I'll do that. I have no problem bettering myself and understanding that I made a mistake and needed treatment if I needed treatment. If that's so what y'all you or the DOC wants me to do. I don't have any opposing of that because I am a good person. I made a mistake. I made comments I shouldn't have made, and I take ownership of that. And me being down for these 2 years, the only thing I've been able to do is take Bible course studies from CLI Prison Alliance. I got my first certificate from that. I'm still doing that right now. But as far as everything else, sadly, in satellite camps, they don't offer anything for somebody labeled me to take. I've tried to do work release. I can't do that. I try to be trustee. Can't do that. And I understand it's what I'm labeled, and that's on me. That's my fault. But I'm just wanting to do everything I can to be the best me that I can be.
All right. You do have opposition that's been expressed in the record. I'm trying to get to it so I can tell you who they are. Well, the sentencing judge in Caddo Parish, they just have a blanket opposition. The district attorney's office is opposed based on the serious nature of the case. Sheriff's office is opposed. Of course, your family is supportive. The victim's mother is unopposed.
Yes, ma'am.
Which is unusual.
Yes, ma'am. That's what I was saying. You know,
yeah, you don't need to comment on that. So what would be your plans? I know you did include some plans in your packet.
Yes, ma'am.
You tell us on the record what your plans, should you be successful, what are your plans?
Well, my plans are, first off, to get out and go to the probation parole, do my registration, pay all the fees I need to do. And from what I was told through my grandma, Sue Robertson, that a parole officer called her, and they stated that there is opportunities for me labeled as a sex offender to be able to get a job. Obviously, I want to do a job. I don't like sitting by idle. I want to get in a job, and again, to be able to pay my way and take care of myself and my family right now. So I'm going to be, if granted successfully, if I do get a parole, I'm going to be moving back with my grandparents, my grandma, Sue Robertson, and my papa, Jimmy, and helping take care of him because he has dementia right now, and it's all on her right now. So just paying my dues to society as a person should be doing. And if need be, I'm really wanting to get into Celebrate Recovery, because I started doing that here in jail, and I've been realizing that even though I'm not addicted to drugs or alcohol, I had other addictions that I needed to face and fix, and I would like to continue on doing that and continue on trying to better my life and help people in the process that are in the same shoes or that have been locked up before. Because me being down for 2 years, I've seen the other side of the coin, and it's not pretty, but you make the best of the situation, and that's what I want to do when I get home. Make the best of it.
What are the addictions you need to address, or that you needed to address?
My simple addictions are I was addicted to smoking cigarettes. I was addicted to gambling. Gambling was the biggest one. Other than that, nothing. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. Never have, never will. But other than those two, I watch porn, legal porn, but I think that's pretty normal for everybody as an adult, but I don't think I would be addicted to that. But just smoking and gambling would be it.
All right. Any questions? Yes.
Ms. Medlin, I'm listening to you.
Yes, ma'am.
I do have some concerns about you. I do. One, no, it's not normal that everybody don't watch porn. Not. You said you watch porn, but you don't think that's an addiction. That you were talking to Miss Renata about your addictions. You mentioned gambling and cigarettes, and you said, well, I watch porn, but that's normal for an adult legal porn.
Yes, ma'am. I understand. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't be watching that either. And that's another thing that I'm working on, especially being in jail, being a part of my church service and stuff, is not doing the same mistakes that I made in the past, because in the past I did make mistakes like we all do. I made a grievous mistakes, and I was more worried about the here and now and the flesh than what I should have been doing for myself spiritually and emotionally. And
Stop talking just a moment, if you would. I'm also concerned about your ownership of responsibility. I'm not sure that I'm convinced about your explanation of what occurred between you and the victim. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've heard a lot of people, I've listened to a lot of people, and I'm not really convinced that nothing happened sexually between you and the victim. And so my concern is that if you're not willing to acknowledge to yourself, and I know it's hard because you got a family on Zoom, and you told them something and maintained the story with them for a long time, and they're here today. And so that may make it difficult for you to acknowledge what actually happened in this case. And quite frankly, I don't think that you have acknowledged exactly what happened. And so going to sex offender treatment, don't know how beneficial that would be if you don't own responsibility and acknowledge your issues. And I'm concerned about that. And I want you to know that I have some serious concerns about that. I've been a judge, I was a judge for 28 years. I've listened to and talked to a lot of people, and you get a sense for who's saying what they think people want to hear, and people who are honestly answering based on, the reality of your situation. I just want you to know that I have some concerns. That's all I.
All right, you have some family members who have joined us, so we'll hear from them at this time. I think your aunt is on Zoom, Miss Medlin. We'd like to hear from you.
Yes, ma'am. I am in favor of Justin being paroled so he can start back to work and being a responsible person. I hear what the last Miss Jackson said. I don't agree with that, not just because I'm his aunt, because of all of the conversations with the victim, the mother of the victim, my brother. Their variations of everything that took place has changed probably 20 plus times over. It still changes to this day. The
Yeah,
only version.
You've given us all those details in your letter. We did get. So
I'm just stating that I don't think it is black and white as it's being made to be. That being said, my nephew, from what I've learned from the attorneys, that when a question like this is asked, he should have asked for an attorney, but he didn't, because he thought he was being honest, and he went to the jailhouse twice, not once, but twice, just to answer questions. They said that was his biggest mistake, because he's thinking he's giving honest answers, and then he was basically just a sitting duck, I guess. I don't really know how all that works, but that being said, we did not want him to take a plea. We did not want him to agree to something that we did not feel that he had done, and that the victim and the mother and my brother have all said he did not do, even though their stories have changed. But he got scared because of the judge was brand new, and the judge was very harsh from the very beginning, and he did not even come across as someone that was being subjective. He had very strong opinions, and it scared Justin. And at the very last minute, and our attorneys was very confident with the proof that he had, but Justin at the last minute changed his mind and took a plea, and we couldn't, he was the person that had to make that decision ultimately, even though we didn't want him to do that. But he got scared because the judge was saying, you're facing 25 years. And he was like, my whole life will be gone. So anywho, we were told that day he would be going to a facility that he could do rehabilitation courses and et cetera, et cetera. None of that happened. He was sent to a place that didn't provide that. I think he, as he was mentioned, he has been asking for those kind of services and classes. He hasn't received that either.
Right, Ms. Medlin, can you wrap it up for us? You got about 30 seconds.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well, getting out, I mean, I financially will help my mother, help Justin get all his fines, whatever is needed to get him back sustainable and ready for, living at my mom's house. My mom is taking care of my stepfather, who has Alzheimer's. And so it would be very helpful to her as well. And I think good for Justin to have that kind of responsibility.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And yeah, and we have Miss Sue Roberts on the phone. Miss Roberts. Let me there you go, Miss Roberts.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm here.
What would you like to say to us?
Okay, Justin is my grandson, and he lived with me while he finished high school. Never had any trouble out of him at all. He would be a really big help to me right now with my husband. I'm almost 73, and my husband's way bigger than me, so having a man here would really help. I do believe he's a good, honest person. He has made mistakes in his past, and I believe that he will own up to them and do the right thing.
All right, yes, ma'am. We appreciate your participation today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Justin,
Ma'am.
is there anybody anybody there with you? A staff member?
Yeah, yes, Warden Wade's outside. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, can you ask him to step in for a second?
Yes, ma'am.
You can say where you're at. Warden, is
Okay.
there any input you can give us about Mr. Medlin?
I don't really know very much about it.
Well, sometimes that's a good thing. It means he
Yes,
stayed
ma'am,
out
it
of
is.
trouble. Okay, thank you so much, sir. Justin, is there anything you'd like to say to us before we go?
Yes, ma'am. Miss Jackson, I want to say thank you for your concern. I appreciate that, and you've definitely opened my eyes up to a lot of things that I need to be more proactive in my recovery of my mistakes that I've made. And I hope that, if God forbid, if I'm not granted parole, can I at least please be granted to where I can get into some type of thing that'll help me so I can have the best chance of upon release, whether it be parole or full term, to be the best legal citizen again in the world. That's all I want to do. I want to prove to myself and to everybody else that just because I'm in an orange doesn't mean that I'm a monster. I made mistakes. I'm sorry for that, but I do want to be better. I want to be a better person. And it's a learning process, and I'm learning as I go. But like my parents said, I am a good person. I made mistakes in my life. I've regretted, but I want to be the best that I can be. That's all I ask. I just want to be a normal person again and go back to work and live a life and pay taxes like everybody else.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Justin, I think we're prepared to vote. And I hear everything you're saying. I hear everything your family is saying. I have shared the same concerns that Mrs. Jackson has voiced. Without the sex offender treatment, I don't feel confident in a grant of parole. My vote today is going to be to deny your parole, but I will make a strong recommendation that the Department of Corrections moves you to a facility to afford you that treatment program.
Yes, ma'am.
Then you will have an opportunity to reapply for another hearing.
Yes, ma'am.
After you complete that treatment program, do so.
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Jackson.
All right, mine is the same, Mr. Mellon. I think you can really benefit from participating in the sex offender program, and it's unfortunate that you've been housed at a facility that doesn't afford you that opportunity. So my vote today is a vote of encouragement. It's going to be to deny, But we're gonna do everything we can to get you transferred to a facility where you can enroll in and complete the sex offender treatment and then reapply, once you're eligible.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Mr. Green.
Mr. Mellon, my vote would be to grant.
Yes, sir.
And just order that you follow all the rules of the sex offender contract and attend the classes on the outside.
Yes, sir.
All right, so in your case, because of the nature of the charge, it does require unanimous vote. So the end result of today's proceeding is that your parole's been denied. We're going to encourage you to do the sex offender treatment. We'll do everything we can to get you there and reapply when you're eligible. Good luck to you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank y'all.